Guess what? I am letting you in on my 3 secrets to escaping your desk job and setting up your dream business in 3 months. Join me for my free masterclass on Tuesday, November 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I will teach you how to start planning your exit strategy so that you can set up a business that you love. Sign up now at secondactsuccess.co/secrets. You will also get my free business startup checklist just for joining. I'll see you Tuesday, November 19th for this free masterclass so I can share my 3 secrets to escaping your desk job and setting up your dream business in just 3 months. Are you ready to quit your 9 to 5 job and start a business of your own? Well, you're in the right place, my friend. Welcome to the Second Act Success Career Podcast. I am your host, Shannon Russell. I am a former television producer turned business owner, career transition coach, and boy mom. My mission is to help you produce your best life. This podcast will teach you how to get from where you are now to where you want to be, and how to build a business that fits your life and lights you up. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Second Act Success Podcast. One of my favorite parts about hosting this podcast is getting a chance to have these amazing conversations with incredible women and learning about their journey and how they went from their first act to their second act and just how they've changed gears moving throughout life. And today's conversation is no exception. I'm about to introduce you to Jessica Varian Carroll. Jessica graduated high school and became a mom at the age of 19. She began her career working in the automotive field at a Sears Auto Center. She spent 10 years at Sears before she pivoted to create her own business out of a passion that had been with her her entire life. Jessica is the founder and CEO of Organista Home. She helps clients declutter their home while rehoming their items so that everything can be recycled and reused. She has also written her own memoir entitled She Had No Business. There are so many more aspects to Jessica's life and her career, but let's hear it from her. Let me introduce you now to Jessica Varian Carroll. Jessica Varian Carroll, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
Thank you. I'm so honored.
Let's get started with where your career began.
Well, I graduated from high school and I had a son at 19. So I never went to college. At that time, I was working at a tire store, Sears Auto Center. My uncle had worked there. I needed benefits. And he's like, I can get you a job. And lo and behold, that got me into the automotive field that I was in for close to 10 years almost. The good, the bad, the ugly. I transitioned through several jobs and kind of did that.
All while being a mom. So
Yeah.
that's double duty right there.
Yeah.
And then you are now a mom of 4 kids. Is that right?
Yes, and they're all adults. They're all over 18. My oldest just got married, so I feel like I did it. Everybody survived. It's like, this is amazing. I have none in high school. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, nobody has to go anywhere. It's so surreal now. But it's good stuff. All good stuff.
Now you can concentrate on you and your businesses and everything that you're working on that we're going to dive into. So tell me about, I guess, around 2011 when you formed your first business. Tell us about that and how you got the idea to do so.
So a friend of mine at her church, because I was working in a church in the basement, she had asked me to go to this women's group. It was called WIP, Women in Power. So it was like a women's networking group. And it was much different then than I am now. So at night, I was selling candles, multi-level marketing, party light. And she's like, come join us. So I was rather timid at the time, but I'm like, okay, like, let me go check it out. So I walked into this room full of dynamo women and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even deserve to be in this room. Like, please, nobody talk to me. Let me hide in the corner because I don't feel worthy of being in this room. It was a monthly meeting, but I kept showing up. And slowly but surely, we started being friends and and talking together, and I felt comfortable. And then there was this one moment where one of the founders, Natalie, had asked me to go to her birthday party because everybody's hanging out after the meeting, but I hadn't gotten that invitation yet. There was about, 20, 30 women. And then you would have thought like I won the lottery. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm finally in. Then I just started to feel more comfortable, more accepted. And that was only in my own mind. Nobody was putting that on me. It was me putting it on myself. I wasn't passionate about selling candles. It was just something I was doing on the side as I was working at the church and, just trying to bring in some extra income. I moved out of my marital home. We were going through a divorce and I had watched an episode of Hoarders. And I'm like, is this for real? Do people actually need this? Because I grew up in a very organized home. My mother was very organized. There was no toys around. So the toys were for the bedroom and then they were purged often. So it had come natural to me. So at the end of each meeting, one person was given an opportunity to ask a question. So I was going to ask this question. And my heart was beating through my chest because I'm like, here I'm hosting, which is out of my comfort zone. We're talking, and they said, okay, who has a question? And I said, is there a need for this home organizing thing? Now, this was way before Marie Kondo, the joy of tidying up. This was way, way prior to all of that. And they're like, are you kidding me? Absolutely. Maybe the 10 of them were like, you could start a my house. And I was like, okay. So what I knew was I was going to try this out. I was going to test the waters. So the first person that, raised her hands, I made an appointment after my work hours to go and just go to her house. We're going to do her kitchen. And, I walk into this townhouse and there's expired food everywhere. There's just pots, pans, dishes, all kinds of excess. So lo and behold, hours later and many, many bags out, she was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Everybody was like, biggest thing is get the before and afters. That's going to sell your service. I was doing these things complimentary to see if I could do it and then get the photos for social media. Maybe like 3 months later, I opened up an LLC. It was going to work. I met with my lawyer. We did all the paperwork. I got the business insurance. I was doing research. And at the time, I was seeing these home organizers back in 2011 were making anywhere from $50 to $200 an hour. And I'm like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? And it just comes second nature. So I wouldn't even think of it as a job. That's kind of how it all started getting rolling because, my overhead was a box of hefty black garbage bags, and that's all I needed. I didn't need anything else. And I would show up, we would work our 3 or 4 hour session. My clients' lives would be changed. They would be breathing better, sleeping better, better relationships. And I would be taking these items and rehoming them to the less fortunate, to the needy, to people in the neighborhood. And it was a win-win. Nothing was going to the trash because most people don't know where to bring things. They don't want them, but what do I do? So I would leave with the items, find homes for them, keep them out of landfills. I was supporting my family. I was a single mother of four essentially like ever, keeping items out of landfill, helping my clients and giving to the less fortunate. And it was like a no-brainer. So here we are all these years later. I've helped over 300 families and I've rehomed over 1 million items to charity. So it's so exciting.
Wow, that is so incredible. The idea that you're rehoming these items is what's really special, I think, because a lot of people would think, oh, if you're organizing, you're just tossing or you're dropping at Goodwill. But for you to actually make the extra effort to figure out who could use these items and really recycle them,
Yeah.
that's such a great gift that I'm sure your clients love too.
Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of people, they don't know the middleman. I've worked in the Catholic Church in Asbury Park where the kids come in pajamas. I worked with this or that, these organizations. So I'm the middle person telling those stories. I'm the tangible person that can say, yeah, no, this goes here, this goes here, this is what happens. And they're like, take it by all means, take everything. I don't want any, because they want to hear those stories and know that they are in fact true.
How did that feel when you launched the LLC and you started getting into more and more homes and helping people and you were really growing your business? At this time, your business was called Organized by Design. Is that
It
right?
was. It was. Yes, yes.
Yeah. And so, how did it grow and how did it affect you with your family really seeing that income?
So it was part-time at the school and it was just I couldn't even make time for that anymore. And I was making a significant amount of money in 3 hours as opposed to what I would make in a full week. So it just got to the point where I just transitioned. I was talking to Sister Jew. She was saying what I have is a gift. So it's not like people don't want to be organized, they just don't know how to be organized. And so that kind of was the catalyst like, okay, I'm good to go. I have her blessing. She doesn't need me anymore to organize the office. I'm good. Then I was able, since I was a single sole provider mother, I could get them to school and then I would be home for after school or activities. I mean, I still had to work, but I was able to maneuver it in predominantly their school schedule. That was really key for raising 4 kids solo for the last 15 years. Then I was growing, and then it turns out I winded up getting pneumonia in the summer. And I had been working a lot. And I was like, maybe this is the sign that I'm working too much. So a few years into it, I hired my first employee. I had to navigate that, figure that out. But it was really good. I was able to hire moms in the area that just wanted a little income on the side. So that was really all good. Then COVID hit, and then everything kind of just didn't work. Nobody really wanted to take the chance, or there was better opportunities financially in other aspects, if you know what I mean. It was kind of high and dry. So I haven't brought the women back. It's kind of as needed. I will. There was a lot of stressors with having employees. So I found that I'd rather live a little bit with less stress and then just hire as needed. So that's kind of where we are today. My truck is always full of donations. So my kids are always just like, they are used to sitting on garbage bags. Like, Mom, don't open the door at school. We've been through a lot of those things. Like, don't open the slider when I had the minivan. So they really learned those lessons. And at the time, there was low points where, if people were donating the food and I would just have to bring it home or use shampoo, like we would just use it because raising them alone, being a sole provider with nothing else, and the items were still good. So I practice what I preach. So I'm not donating garbage for that nobody wants. It's like, okay, me and my family have had to take part in, some of those donations at various times, coats or, sneakers. And, my clients don't care where it goes.
No.
They just want it to go to someone. I've been on both sides of the spectrum. My kids definitely know all about donating and repurposing and recycling. And my big goal at that time was to be able to take my son on vacation when he turned 13, because I didn't get my passport till I was going to Haiti at 31 on a rescue mission with the church.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing where I wanted, when they turned 13, they got a passport and a trip. So I was able to take Jared to Mexico, him and I, for his 13th trip because I saved all of the cash from the company. So that was like my first big goal. And we did it. And then Noah, we went to Jamaica, and Riley, we went to Mexico. So I was able to continue those traditions, luckily, and still pay my bills and provide for the children, but with that business.
Wow. That's so inspirational in so many ways, Jessica, so
Thank
many
you.
ways. So your business now, it's called Organista Home.
Yeah, Organista Home. My ultimate goal a couple years ago was to franchise it or to create pods or things like that. And when you Google Organized by Design, there was many, many people using them. So I went to M Studios in Asbury and we sat down and we rebranded, repackaged. So when the time comes and the time is right, I trademarked Organista so nobody can use it. And, we can move forward that way. It's just planting the seeds of when we're ready, we can do this. So
That's so great. And not only do you have that business, but tell me about your book.
in 2019, I wrote my first book. It's She Had No Business, a real life tale of faith, courage, and beating the odds. So through my entire life, there were so many things that I shouldn't have done. I had no business. So in the middle of the night, I had this title come to me, and I knew I had to get up, write it down. I didn't know what it was for at the time. And then an opportunity presented itself to work with my friend Jennifer Young, who is a published author with HarperCollins, where she wanted to help someone expedite that process of querying agents, of doing this, of doing that. And so, start to finish, Within 6 months, we had it in paperback form. So it was a testament because I felt I had plateaued at the time, personally, professionally. And then this opportunity came, and I'm like, like, I wonder if that'll help me get to the next level. Like, maybe I have to work through things, maybe I have to deal with things. So I just went through the process and started, being a child of a teen parent. My mom was 16 when she had me, and my dad was 18. And having my son at 19. And then I started my company in 2011. I didn't go to college. And then here I'm writing this book, and I was a mediocre student at best. So if you look back and just look at that girl in school and to think that she'd have a book that would be listed at Barnes and Noble or Target or Walmart, you'd be like, how did that even happen? And it was just, taking those leaps. There was times that were scary. And my whole goal with writing that book was if I could help inspire one person to just do one thing. There was times where I had the 4 kids. We were in a small little house and the water was turned off. Having to figure that out and navigate the systems, starting my business, dealing with sexual harassment. So there are so many different ways that I've been through situations. And I'm like, well, if someone could take one nugget, it doesn't have to be the whole book, and do something with it, then my job is done. We've sold, I think, around 1,000 copies. I have a chapter about celebrating your birthday. Like, make it a big deal. Show the world you're worth it. How you celebrate your life is how your day is going to go, or your year is going to go. So, I mean, I just had a Sex in the City themed dinner party at Olive Garden. So we all dressed up as our favorite characters, and we went to Olive Garden and we strutted our stuff in the back room, and it was so much fun. Since then, I've had so many people that have had birthday parties that never ever thought to. So I did that in 2019. So it's just on its 5-year anniversary. So it's really something.
Oh, so proud. So proud of
Thank you.
you. You're right. It's so hard to navigate all of those things that you've navigated, I'm sure. To think that you had to figure out, how do I deal with the water being turned off? How do I provide for 4 children on my own? There's not a playbook for that. So the fact that you're writing a book saying that it can be done, you can take one step towards that action and making your life better. You've got to feel so proud of, and your children must be so proud.
Yeah, it was a big deal for them. And now I think they're just like over it all. Mom is cool. She does all these things. And they're just like, yeah, okay. No.
Exactly. I know the feeling over here too. You're an author, you're a business owner, and you're also a partner in a book publishing company as well.
Yes. So a couple years ago, my partner Jen, we're Inspired Girl Enterprises, said to me, I'm looking for a partner for the publishing company, which had published me. I was the first author. Is this something you'd consider? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how could I miss out on this opportunity? I felt that I would just regret it. So our mission is only to provide inspiring, motivating content. So we'll only accept queries and books and publish books that we believe in. These messages are all different, but they need to be heard. And I'm like, how could I not be a part of that? So I had to figure out a few scenarios, but I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. I think we have up to 60 authors so far. We get hundreds of queries a month, and we just really stand by and support our publishers.
That's really incredible. And you can take your experience from being a published author as well to help these future authors, if you
Yeah.
will. So you're busy, you've got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And then you tell me about this other organization that you started called SOAR.
Sure. So Jen is my business partner in multiple things. I was sharing how I was leaving for Haiti. And essentially, I was raising 4 kids alone. I'd never had a passport. I was collecting medical supplies to go with. A woman in my church who used to live in Haiti and a gentleman that did international shipping. He came to me and he goes, I'd like to do tents for Haiti. Will you help me? This program of raising money to send tents to Haiti. And I said, sure. I don't really know what I'm doing, but if I believe in it, I'm like, yeah, let's figure it out.
Mhm.
And so him and I collected a ton of money. And it turns out the tents weren't feasible. So what we did is we donated the money, and they wanted to show us what the money had done. So Don and I and V went down to Haiti, and it the money that we raised built the foundation of a school for the kids down there. So
Wow.
we were there in the mountains, no electricity, no running water. I mean, it was wild. So I was sharing that story with her. And here I am, just making ends meet, just getting by. And here I'm leaving to, fulfill my mission.
Mhm.
And she's like, you have to talk. I need you to be on my panel. I'm doing a women's event in the Poconos. Will you be on the panel? And here I am like, who me? I didn't do anything. I'm not, and she was like, of course you. Yes, you. And who does that? So I went up and I spoke on the panel, and it was really my first time of doing something like that. I got a bunch of friends. We all went up. It was a beautiful experience. And then a couple years later, she was like, I'd like to bring that to the shore. Would you be my partner? And I'm like, my partner? Like, what do you mean? All of these women with college degrees that are, experienced and all of this. Are you kidding me? And she goes, yes, of course. We decided that we were ready to move forward, and we didn't have anything to start with. There was no funds to begin this process. So we were touring spaces, and we were in the Avenue in Pure Village.
Mhm.
And we're like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the rooftop, floor to ceiling windows. Like, this is what's going to be. Of course, the price was exorbitant. And we're like, well, how are we going to figure this out? The deposit wouldn't be due for a while. It would hold 60 people. And then we're like, okay, let's do it. So we just signed the contract. You build it, they will come. We knew we
Mhm.
sold sponsorships, we sold tickets, we could make the deposit, we could make the next. Lo and behold, we sold out our first event in 2017 for Seize Opportunity and Rise Women's Symposium. It was so surreal. Ever since then, we at the time, we're doing them twice a year. We call them mini wedding because we do attention to detail because we want you to come in and feel loved and supported. The women that show up are just meant to be there. They complement each other. They want to help each other. And it's just the right people show up for the right reasons. We scaled it back to once a year. So we're probably on our ninth one. We always find these really cool, unique venues. We've done an alpaca farm. We've done an art gallery. We're just so grateful because we're just the conduits. We show up and then the magic happens. It's in the speakers, it's in the people, it's in the food, it's in the space. And so it's super, super rewarding.
You are the instrument. You're the tool in helping other women find their purpose and figuring out what they can do and inspiring them and wow, what a life you have built and a career. All right, it's time for our 5 fast cues of the week. Here we go. Name one thing that these different chapters in your life have taught you.
Really, I guess it would be like show up, do the work, be consistent, and it'll all work out. It'll pan out.
Well, would you recommend taking a leap into a big life change to your best friend?
Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite mottos is jump and the net will follow. I heard that many, many years ago, and it hasn't proven me wrong yet. I mean, yes, sometimes it's scary, but it's all been worth it.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's about to start a second act?
I think I take this from Elizabeth Gilbert. I think in Big Magic, she was saying how she was a waitress and then writing because she didn't want to put all the pressure of making money on her writing because she wouldn't appreciate it. So until she hit it big, she kept the waitress job because she didn't want to ruin that relationship, that specialness. So for me, I think it's like keep what's gonna, keep you afloat and do your passion until the passion can change it. Don't put it all on the passion because you might lose it. It might not be as special.
Jessica, I love that. I don't think any of my guests on the podcast have said that before. I don't think I've heard that. I think that's really excellent advice. I really do. What is your next act? What is next for you?
I don't know. I feel like there's something, and I don't know what it is, but I have been feeling like my son got married in August, but I feel like there's a transition. Something else is brewing, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet, but I know something is coming. So I can't answer that yet, but soon I will be, I'm
Good.
sure.
You shared so much about your life and your book and your events and your career and your business. So, where can people follow along and see what's happening next with you?
So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not the best at it, but I do have a LinkedIn page at Jessica Varian Carroll. I'm on Instagram. So we have SOAR on Instagram. I have Organista Home on Instagram. We have Inspired Girl on Instagram. And then I have an author Instagram. And then same with Facebook.
Your story is really so inspirational of just taking that leap and trying for what feels good to you. And really it's like even with you working in the church basement and seeing the hoarder show, like everything happened at one time and it made you say, maybe there's something to this. And I think so many times we have that thought and it's a fleeting thought and it leaves our head and we never think about it again. It's about feeling that thought, thinking that thought, and then taking that action on it to see if it's something that can come to fruition.
Absolutely. And then in writing She Had No Business and really sitting down and going through it, I was able to pinpoint in high school if there was guys that I was dating that had too many clothes or like their rooms were a mess. I was decluttering their room. And then we take it back from there. I remember in third grade staying in from recess because I wanted to organize the bookcase. I can trace it back so often, but I had to take that time and say, oh, yeah, I've been doing this my whole life. And so you'll find those keys if you slow down and take a minute to really reflect. I think you'll find the pieces.
Mm, beautifully said. I love it. Well, Jessica, thank you so much. I will link to all the ways to connect with you, your book and everything in the show notes. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Oh, thank you so much. It was such an honor.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you found some gems of inspiration and some takeaways to help you on your path to second act success. To view show notes from this episode, visit secondactsuccess.co. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. Reviews only take a few moments and they really do mean so much. Thank you again for listening. I'm Shannon Russell, and this is Second Act Success. Are you ready to unboss yourself? I'm talking about leaving your 9 to 5 so that you can build a business you love. Head over to secondactsuccess.co/quiz. Answer a few questions and get your results right away. Plus, you will get action items on what you can implement right now. Go grab the quiz at secondactsuccess.co/quiz. Good luck.